check. 1, 2, 1, 2. What's happening, everybody? Anthony Wayne here. Welcome to the Byt Rain podcast. This would be episode 3, I think. I said I was going to do an AVIBE episode, and this is where we're at with that. Things got busy, clearly. When you're trying to, there's a lot of plates spinning. But the AVIBE Festival is complete for 2023. And we're doing a recap. I thought since we had the podcast up and running, Byt Rain podcast, we would do a recap. I was going to try and do, you just run out of time. It's a lot, considering that it's just me, doing a good majority of it. I have established what I would like to be a very special group of people that I trust and I values, that I value their opinion and can help guide me in certain directions, and also have special skills that help the festival operate by the minute. So that's going to happen. But so the idea was maybe that I would have a vibe artist on, and then kind of build up to it. But I ended up kind of becoming the co-host for the Other People Show, which is another live radio show on WLSD 92.5 out of Northern Virginia. But and Other People Other People Show on all over social. So there's that. But instead, I think I'm just gonna do. This is gonna be like the recap. I'm gonna do this in 3 parts because I said I would do episode 3. That's gonna be the AVIBE, because we had the AVIBE Festival was at its third year. Really, its 4th. We did 2 years in Bristol, Virginia, and then, then everybody had a couple of years off there, and then we got back to it, but, we were going to do, a vibe in a different city in Tennessee, and that didn't work out. We didn't feel very, very good about that, so I thought it was done. I honestly thought a vibe was done, and I was just like, all right, well, we had a good run. It was a good run. But then serendipitous moments happen sometimes in the oddest places, and I had kind of expressed some concern that a vibe was done, and some people kind of found that out, and they were just like, what is a vibe? And then, we started talking, and then, so there was the resurgence year there, which was last year, 2.5. That wasn't really, it was kind of a quick thing thrown together, and I think we only had like a month last year to really get it together, and it was, I feel like a resounding success. But so this year would have been really the 3rd year. So there was a 2.5, there's now a 3, and then we're moving on and on and on. And now we have a team, and we can make good decisions. And not that we've made any bad ones, but we can. It's good to have a collaborative effort, with a team like that. It's kind of like being in a band. Or being, in any group, honestly, like a theater group or a ragtag sort of shenanigan group, and you're looking for a lost scroll of some kind, and you have a team. So what is, hopefully with that in mind, we'll be able to move forward and do big and better and brighter and broader things. The idea is, the festival is in Big Stone Gap, Virginia, and it's, kind of a small community, and the idea was to go one end of the street to the other, just like many festivals that occupy a town, and spend, any amount of a day there, or 2 days or 3 days, whatever your festival may be. And the idea was to, go from one end to the other, and it takes a little time to do that. You can't just say, especially, it really kind of hinges on your budget. There's a few things that it hinges on, but I think, budget primarily in this scenario. It's a free festival, so we have to do fundraising, and we have to find money, which is not uncommon for any festival to go through. That's a pitfall. It can, sometimes that makes and breaks. It takes very sound perseverance and mental fortitude to, push something like this. And it did test my strength, my mental strength capacity. This time, it's a lot of emotions, a lot of people, and a lot of emotions to manage, and times and things like that. And I'd be the first to tell you that I probably got into my own emotions this year, just because you want to do right, you want to do what you set out to do. What was the reason for it? So this year I had to go back and really kind of search the catacombal mind of why I was doing it. And it's just self-doubt, really. It's just self-doubt. And there's external things too, like when you're this driving force, you gotta always be on time, be alert, be awake, and be arrive. You gotta show up. And I do that, and I'm constantly kind of working towards the doing of that. But man, it's just, you have your daily life too. And daily life kind of hands you a few things here and there. They say, this year, they say, money's tight, so let's work harder. They say, let's give you 3 or 4 vehicle issues at one time. And so there's that, and you have to deal with that. But money's tight, so let's get to hustling. And then, you have to shut down just about everything that you're doing to operate something like this, because it's constant. Not only do you have to do your 9 to 5 or your whatever it is that puts salads on the table, you have to constantly, like every night you're coming home and you're saying, okay, what do I need to do? Here's the schedule. Here's my, there's this list. Here's the tier 1 important list. Here's the tier 2 of importance list. Here's the tier 3 of importance list. And you have to kind of whittle those things down. And you can't just, with anything like this, and I'm going to get to what this festival means to me, but it's not easy to just say, here's this, awesome idea or this cool festival, or we've got this great plan. And, I'm just going to grab, 2 or 3 people that I, think fit it. And let's say, can you guys help me? It's just not that easy. You want to make sure there's a skill set. There's a vision love, you want them to make sure that there's a love of the vision that you're trying to push, or trying to operate within, and hopefully, you can get that on board. But, back to, life kind of just hands you a few things and you have to operate within that, and then you got to get back to it. So this year, AVIBE was, it always ends well. So don't get me wrong. It always does. I'll be the first to tell you that everything's going to be okay, even when it's not. And so AVIBE it does end well. It's just, it's kind of hairy getting up to it and kind of, But AVIBE happened, and this is not quite a week since it's happened, but I still have a lot of fresh thoughts. But that you could. I don't want to get into the thank yous until maybe part 3 of this. I'm going to do this in part 1 really as a, we survived it. Hey, we're here. We survived. And I also just kind of wanted to explain what the vision might be. Because I felt like there was some communication this year that really could have been better. And maybe it started with me. Maybe I could have communicated a lot of things better. But, this year we did a few things different. So, how do you involve an entire small business town, small town with its businesses? How do you involve them to the degree that everybody feels involved, and that it's, fair and team and all those, amazing things that go along with some of that? How do you do all that, So, AVIBE started, 5 years ago, I had this idea. The name of the band, so Anthony Wayne was Byt Rain was a band. Okay, let's go back just a little bit. Byt Rain was a band, and it was sort of blues rock. It's not much different than what Anthony Wayne Vibe is currently, but it was blues rock, and it took its it was in the wheelhouse of Big Ed Todd and some things like that, John Butler Trio, Dave Matthews, some of those bands, which are bands that I love and I listen to currently, and I've always kind of kept one foot in their gutter and one foot in my own, so Byt Rain did its thing for like 8 years, and then it fell apart, and that just happens, and I think I've gone into that a time or two. And then so Anthony Wayne started, but I'd kind of had Anthony Wayne for a long time. That was just my solo thing. And then I wanted a band with that. So I didn't want to be like the Anthony Wayne band or the Anthony Wayne group, or, so that's how the vibe came in. And then, just real simply, I was trying to, make a noise in my little neck of the woods, in my little area, Southwest Virginia, Northeast Tennessee. And, you're having trouble getting in some venues. And that has a little bit to do with like who you know and the amount of cover tunes that you play, which is great. I just don't do a lot. That's probably been a slight downfall for me, maybe 5% over the years. It's just not something I really spend a lot of time on. I have lately, but so any of those venues that didn't want to book the Vibe, because of cover list, I do a few. If you like Pavement and you love, older 90s punk rock or something, but so a Vibe came about because I wanted to make a noise, and then I thought, well, what better way to make a noise, personally, than to join with other bands who are trying to make a noise. If you're having trouble, doing something, create a team and create a group and make a noise together. Because I've always believed that we're stronger together than we are apart. So a Vibe was going to be this festival. I'm going to do my own festival, and I'm going to book the bands that I've really, that I can see out there hustling. There's a lot of artists that I see out there doing the work, man, hustling, showing up every day, and that's valuable. And that, whether anybody tells them or whether they make the gigs they want or get the shows, they make the money and get the gigs they want, I see a lot of them. And I do my best to go see them, and I do my best to share and do all these social media things, which I don't even know. That's a whole nother topic. But so, a Vibe was going to be this big, joyful noise. I wanted it to be, everything's a vibe, And it tied in with Anthony Wayne Vibe, I guess, and we were going to play. We would play every year, and I would have all these great bands, and then eventually it would become something really great, and I would be able to involve my community. But I wasn't really part of the community for the first 2 years. I was trying to be, but it was hard. And so anyhow, it's just like, well, there's an effort, and I gave it my best and move on. But then my community was happening around me, and I saw that Big Stone was really, had a changing of the guard and like a change of heart in a lot of things, and there was more businesses, and it was a good time, and so I got real lucky with the timing of it all. And so I was like, this is awesome, So I've lived here a long time. Excuse me, I've lived here a long time, but wasn't always part of the community in that way because I don't play. There wasn't a lot of places to play, and then I wasn't the style of music that people wanted to hear, and that's okay. So I went and found my people, and that's what you do. You go find the people. And so I got on tour, and I stayed out. I stayed gone. And so, I stuck around a lot this year and last year, especially since a Vibe has kind of become part of the community. And I was like, okay, this is a way that I can really be part of the community by helping the community. Now, they don't need my help. No community said, hey, Anthony Wayne, we need your help. Nobody said that. But I want to be part of something. I want to be part of a community and be helpful, doing for, over asking of, in that way. So I was just like, well, maybe this festival could do some good here, and I'll get the community involved. And then what I'll do is we'll have all these artists in every venue, and we have quite a few. I think last count it was like 12, and not everything is like a real venue, but like there could be some potential. Like we have some outside stages kind of thing. So so there's that. So that's what I want to do with the Vibe, and that's what I and so the communication that I was mentioning earlier is that sometimes it's hard to get how do you say this? I couldn't afford to pay. Obviously we have zero budget. We have some, but it's like, it's not enough to pay 100 bands. So we're working on that and how we get to that. And that's where the team comes in. And we're going to get there. It's just, now we're realizing, okay, maybe there is a pretty good interest in something like this. So the idea is to get down the street and involve all the venues down the street. But you can't do it. Couldn't do it this year. We had reached out. And we were going to try, and then that kind of fell. The communication fell, and so I'll take 50% ownership of that for sure. But we want to do better, and I'm going to do better, and that's where the team comes in, and that's where meetings help. And you get on board and get everybody on board. So I think next year a Vibe 5. I need to stop doing that. It's really a Vibe. It's a Vibe 4. So I need to stop doing that 2.5. I always count that 2.5, but so a Vibe 4 will be next year, 2024. Vibe 4 and 20. Okay, there's some marketing there. We'll get the marketing team on that. Hey Anthony, can we get on that? Yeah, I'm on that, Anthony. So that's happening, and we're gonna do better, and the communication is gonna be better, and I'm gonna be better. And I'm going to get out of my head and stop worrying about the egos that goes into trying to handle that many egos. And not everybody is going to like everything that I do, every band that I book, every decision that I make. And I'm okay with that. I really ultimately am okay with that. It's just, in the moment it kind of hurts your feelings and you're just like, damn, I'm doing my best here, And, so you kind of take it on, you take that weight on and you're like, maybe, well, was I doing my best? I don't know. But I do feel like I was. And I've had a lot of people reach out and say that, great job, things like that. But I've also had a lot of people not reach out and not return messages. And I think that speaks volumes too. And that's unfortunate, but there is a decision there. And that kind of lets you know, okay, well, that did not work. That did not work. So it's just the week after or something like this is like it's like a bunch of answers. You get all the answers you wanted, whether good or bad. So a Vibe, ultimately a Vibe was just going to be, I wanted it to be one big joyful noise where all these cool bands got to meet and got to do really great things. And we did a little bit of that this year. We had a fundraiser, and I got, almost not every band, but I'd say 75% of the bands together to play. And we all played, and we did one big night and raised money. And all that went into one pot. And we still have some funds coming in from other sources. There's some fees that we had, some donations that we had, and we also had some some raffles that were coming through. So there's that, and that'll get dispersed. Now, whether that's a great business model, I don't know. It's going to work, but, it's hard to get everybody on board. And I get it. I'm a musician too. So all the things that everybody's feeling about this, I get it. And I do understand. I guess it's just one of those things like, bear with me, everybody. I'm going to get to where we need to be. But I have to kind of do it in like not baby steps, but definitely a Vibe steps. So next year, bigger, better, bolder, brighter. And I think, I think we had a good time this year. I think it was a lot of smiling faces. I was probably running around a little too wild. So if you see me running through the venues and outside, that's just because I'm, moving back and forth pretty quick. And I think I was telling, one of the artists this year that I was telling Andy from Broken Sound that I wanted to, if I could just get up to the point where we got golf carts and walkie-talkies, then we're good. So I think next year we're going to have walkie-talkies. But there's a few things I want to do. There's some changes for sure. some things that I saw. And there's a lot of people that have reached out and said they have great job. Here's some suggestions, and that's good too. And then and then the bottom rung of that is there are people who don't have any voice and they don't call back or they don't message back and they say, not for us, pal. Okay, understood. But we loved everybody. I had definitely had some favorites. Man, it was just such a cool night. Cool couple of days. I met a lot of great friends and a lot of artists that I've had not seen or heard, or had not seen but heard and wanted to have on, and so now I'm a big fan. And we'll go through that. I think part 2 and part 3, I'm going to really kind of dissect what the nights were and the artists and things like that, and maybe have some of their music. I recorded the entire event, so I have quite a bit of music recorded. And maybe we'll play some live snippets. And we did a lot of video too. The Other People's show has a lot of video, and I have some video as well that I have to edit. But all that in time. Some things that I also some things that we want to do is obviously we want to have fundraisers because that's what eventually puts the budget together. So we're going to do more of those because I think the fundraiser that we did prior to the AVIBE Festival, I think we did maybe a month before, was great. It was a lot of fun. There was a lot of people. There was quite a bit of fundraising in the small community of Big Stone Gap during the AVIBE fundraising, and so it's hard to continue to ask from your community. So we're going to have to revisit how we manage that part of it. But I think through the year, we're going to do fundraisers at each venue. I think that's going to be a thing. Still have to figure out how that works out. But and that's going to start with some meetings, which we start next week. So I'm excited about that. Getting a bigger jump on it this year, this coming festival year, than we have in the past. I think it's just a matter of learning. It's all learning curves. That's how you do best is real-time learning. Take out, without a net, you learn it all. So I want to do, obviously more fundraisers, which include artists that are going to be on it. Because I've already had, I would say 85% of the artists that played this year have already reached out and said, let's do it again. So that's great. So, we'll put that together and we'll do the fundraisers, and that's how that'll work. And I think, obviously I'm not sure. I don't know if I should even talk about some of the ideas that I got before I really get them on. Maybe I'll just hold off on that. There are some ideas that I have that are going to really kind of elevate this, and I just have to kind of see how that works out before we do that. But, so part 1 really was the who, what, why, and I think there you have it. I love AVIBE. I love the idea of it. I love the community-driven portion of it, and I just need to get better at it. And I think I know I did a little bit of that at 2.5 and then kind of got away from that at 3 this past year because I wanted to try something different. And so I want to somehow combine the efforts of 2.5 and the efforts of 3 into AVIBE 4, which is coming next year. And I think I know how to do that. And, man, you just got to you just do your best, you push through, and then you're able to sit back and look at it and with a fresh, sleep. There's a couple days where you don't sleep there with AVIBE, and, everybody was the people that were being of service were running pretty hard. So huge thanks to Good Times, obviously, the town of Big Stone Gap, Kedmead, and the tourism department, visitor center for really giving us the opportunity, because that's what they did. Is they said this is they did something greater than saying here's a small budget. They said here's a town and here's places, and that's massive. Not everybody gets that handed to you like in the way that they did. So I'm forever grateful to the town of Big Stone Gap for allowing me to do this in the town that I have so much history with. A lot of my family is from here and still lives here. So big thanks, Good Times, and Big Stone Gap Visitor Center in Kedmead. I'd like to thank Brandon Maggard for his just undivided attention every time I speak about this, and his efforts to be front of house in several different houses. He's just impeccable hearing, and just amazing to work with. And everybody says that every time. That's the one thing when a lot of people get off stage is it was great. And of course Brandon had to dip out for another festival or another show that was happening. He had to run sound for that. And while we did miss him, we did our best in his stead. So yeah, thanks to all the bands. I'll go over that in the episode 2 and episode 3. Thanks to all the bands for sure for believing in me. I hope you had a good time. I know it's a little bit different, and I hope it's something that you can grow into and we can all grow together. And definitely thanks to the ones that were in good communication and back and forth, and really being very helpful. And I hope the town did well. It's a small town, it's a small community, so word travels fast, whether it's good or bad. And so I do want to be part of the team, and so I hope hope we can all be part of one big team. But I'll just do my best. I'm not a pro at this. I'm not anything at this. I'm just a dude with a lot of cool ideas, and maybe slightly some decent direction, but I also have a lot of great fortune, a lot of people that believe in me. And I forgot that along the way sometime this year. I was just, I think that the wind took out of me, and I was like, man, am I any good at this? And I really did doubt myself. But I swung around, and once you hit the stage, you start playing. So thanks to all the bands and for all the friends and family and people that came. I hope you had a good time, and I hope that I can continue to do this, and I hope that you'll continue to come, and I hope that I just want to get better and be of service, and keep doing for. That's all I can say. But so I'm going to get some music, send us out of here, and then we'll be back to AVIBE 3, episode 2. Oh, before we go, real fast. So I just a little thing. I do have a full record that's coming out, and I kind of put a hold on that because when the vibe comes around, that takes a lot of your attention. And so I wanted to. What I did is I put the album into about 1 minute. The new album is called Byt Rain, as if, and I crammed all these tunes into 1 minute. So this is what we're going to do on the way out of here. So here it goes.